Okay, raise your hand if you know someone, a family member or a friend, who identifies themselves as either gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender. Raise your hand if you... Yeah, looks like virtually everybody in the audience, and I too would be raising my hand in this case, because I also know people who identify themselves as either gay, lesbian, who are friends and family of ours. And so this really raises the question, how are we as Christians supposed to continue and maintain these relationships with these people without compromising our convictions? Now, I hope you realize that this is going to be an uphill battle for us in order to be able to do that in the culture that we live in today. Now, when I use the word battle, I do not mean to suggest that this is a battle against homosexuals. It is not. They are not the enemy. The real enemy is the false ideas the culture has bought into about the nature of homosexuality and about what the Bible says about homosexuality. So, for example, the culture has bought into the idea that it is cool to be gay. In fact, studies show that each successive generation is more likely to be accepting of homosexuality. In fact, a lot of people think, oh man, the studies show that 10% of the population is gay. And so people think, man, it's popular, so therefore we are going to think it is cool. And of course, this is not surprising, given the fact that homosexuality is glorified in Hollywood. It's taught in our schools. It's protected in our laws. And so it's no longer enough to simply tolerate it. We have to celebrate it. In fact, Julie Rogers, who worked as in the chaplain's office at Wheaton College, who said she has same-sex attractions, was brought in by that school to help the school sort of navigate the complex conversations that many students might have that are struggling with same-sex attraction. Now, she eventually came out and said, no, I'm accepting of homosexuality, and so therefore the school removed her from her position. But here's what she said about that. She said, regarding the students at the university who have same-sex attraction, she says, these students do not need to hear that there's a chance they might be tolerated. They need to be celebrated. And this is why I say it's no longer enough for us simply to tolerate homosexuality. We have to celebrate it. The culture has also bought into the idea that homosexuality is a normal variation of sexual behavior. In other words, for two men to have sex or for two women to have sex is just as normal and as healthy as if a man and a woman were to have sex. The culture has also bought into the idea that homosexuals are born that way, that there is some genetic or biological component that causes them to develop same-sex attraction. And of course, if you're born that way and it's genetic, then of course you can't change the way you are. That's an unchangeable characteristic. Just like our eye color is determined by our genes, it's something that we are sort of born with, and you can't change your eye color. Indeed, it would probably be harmful or dangerous to try to change your eye color. So they say it would be also dangerous or harmful to try to attempt to change your sexual orientation for the same reason. Culture has also bought into the idea that Christians hate homosexuals. And although I would say that they're largely mistaken about this, there's a lot of things that we have done as a church that has contributed to that impression. And so today we'll talk about what some of those things are, and I'm going to offer some principles that can help us to correct course and maybe make a difference and move in a more positive way. The culture also believes that the Bible has been mistranslated and is being used to wrongly condemn homosexuals. Okay? And furthermore, the culture has bought into the idea that the Bible is an outmoded, ancient piece of literature, really a relic, that has no business informing our modern culture about morality, let alone about sexual morality. And so the culture has bought into this idea then that Christians are simply narrow-minded, really intolerant bigots. And frankly, that's sort of the nicest thing to have to say about us. And so because the culture has bought into these beliefs, we Christians face a number of difficult challenges.